Hey guys, here we go into a video on Logan Paul's chances to beat Floyd Mayweather. And I think they almost all stem from this uppercut, okay? Now, first we're going to take a look at some Mayweather stuff and kind of talk about some of the problems with his defense. Now, the first thing, Mayweather loves to throw his lead right hand. He's good at it, it's fast, but there's a problem with it. Number one, he always winds up all his weight on the front foot and none of it on his back foot right now. And that means that he's technically in the air, and he's trying to do that to increase his pendulum, increase his speed and his power, but it puts him into a position in which he's not able to defend himself, I want to say legally, okay? Now, another problem that he has is he doesn't always look for the punch. He just looks for the defensive responsibility, which means that how his opponent reacts to some of his moves doesn't always matter to Mayweather, because Mayweather is going to make the same illegal defensive maneuver no matter what punch you throw at him after he makes this move. He already has it planned out that he's going to throw that lead right hand, and then he's going to duck under the line. And now notice, this is all illegal target here. You're not allowed to hit him in any of this red zone. This is all his back and the back of his head. So he was able to not only attack Canelo's line and not only risk himself and put himself at risk by entering his opponent's line and attacking him, but now he's able to escape from that defense or escape from that danger by ducking under the line illegally, removing all of his visible targets, and people call that defense, okay? Now, he almost gets kind of smacked up here, but here we can see him doing the same thing. Again, Mayweather's not a power puncher. His punch technique is absolutely atrocious, some of the worst in the history of boxing. But again, cheating after he throws this punch, after he exposes himself, right? After he puts himself at risk and exposes his poor punch technique, he has to cheat to be defensively responsible. And again, you're not allowed to duck below your opponent's waistband, okay? In nearly all of the rules of boxing, for every form of boxing, the rule is you're not allowed to duck below your opponent's waistband. And again, Mayweather is allowed to open up and attack his opponent and then cheat and defensively make himself no longer a target for his opponent. But that's one of the problems with fighting and throwing punches in the first place, is that you create vulnerabilities. And the true test of a great boxer is understanding how to mitigate those risks and defend yourself when you put yourself out of position. Now, Mayweather is hitting the board on all of those places, except for the legality of them, because this technique is illegal. You're not allowed to duck below the waist. Not allowed to duck below the waist. Again, it doesn't even matter how you react to Mayweather's punches. This is going to be his go-to defense. And that's one of the reasons wrong with this defense, is that in no particular order are you able to block and defend all of the punches in boxing with this one move, right? By making all of your legal targets illegal. So, how does Jake Paul take advantage of this? Well, number one, if he can get the referee to enforce the rules and stop Mayweather from ducking below the waist, that might help. But also, even though Canelo does try to attempt an uppercut here, right, and then a left hook here, if Paul can be more mindful of letting that uppercut go and being ready for it, he may be able to catch Mayweather when Mayweather's head is in this position. Now, when else may he be able to catch Mayweather when his head is in that position? Well, as we saw in the video, Logan Paul was catching KSI with an uppercut off of the jab. Now, if we look at Mayweather after he shoots his jab here, he likes to duck below the waist. So, if Jake Paul can time this jab, even if he eats this jab, and he can time this into an uppercut to Floyd Mayweather's head position here and come under, he may still be able to catch Mayweather making this defensive flaw. Because number one, Mayweather is going to make this move no matter how his opponent reacts, which means there are a lot of opportunities to walk him into punches here because of the fact that he always just has this blanket cheating defense of ducking below the waist. It doesn't matter. So if he shoots his jab, he's going to duck below the waist on this side, and then when he shoots his right hand, he's going to duck below the waist on the left side, okay, and then try to bring his weight this way, okay? And both maneuvers are illegal, okay? So when he shoots his right hand, he'll duck toward the front foot. If he shoots his jab, he'll duck towards the back foot. And very consistently shooting the jab, and now watch this duck here. Boom. You just have to walk him right into an uppercut. And the cool thing about this fight for Logan Paul is that he's a really big dude, okay? He's really big. He's going to have long arms, and the angles in which he's going to be able to hit Mayweather with hooks and uppercuts is going to be very, very, very new to Mayweather because Logan Paul is so big, okay? So I really think that this is going to be, you know, a really interesting fight for Mayweather and Logan Paul because it's going to present a lot of challenges for Mayweather. Again, as you can see him using that illegal defense, he uses it on offense and defense. As you can see, he gets feinted here, ducks below the waist, moves off the line, and then comes in and shoots that shot and then uses the same illegal defense. And again, we can see the pocket here for the uppercut. Again, this is going to be a very, very, very important punch for Logan Paul if he intends to actually win this fight. Now, this is Mayweather trying to use that uppercut to attack Canelo when he shoots his jab to the body. Again, it'll be a very similar motion, except for Mayweather ducks below the waist instead of ducking up, which means I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunity there. And again, the right hand to the body, when you get there, it's acceptable to the right hand. Mayweather demonstrating perfectly. I just thought I'd share those clips. Now, this is the other place in which Logan Paul is going to need to make sure that the referees enforce the rules. Okay, as we can see here, when Canelo gets him to the ropes, Mayweather has disappeared. He's completely ducked. There are no legal targets. He's not even in the camera. Who's fighting here? Who? Neo, the one? Come on. Ducking here. Again, ducking below the waist. Not only is it illegal, but it's dangerous. What if Mayweather comes up and hits Canelo in the nose and busts his nose or knocks all his teeth out with his big head, right? It's illegal. This is the reason why when anyone ducks below the waist against Lomachenko always holds their head down without fail. He never punches, but he will hold your head down until the referee comes, and then he'll complain that the referee's letting you duck below the waist and cheat, okay? And cheat. Just like Hank Lundy was warned a couple weeks ago for ducking below the waist. So now, again, ducking below the waist, right? Mayweather's able to get away from the left hook by putting his head to his knee. Look at how far down his head is, okay? To be honest, Canelo should actually look to submit this video to the Nevada State Athletic Commission to have his loss overturned to a no contest and get his undefeated record back. Because this is blatantly cheating. And Mayweather did it, what, maybe 100 times in their fight? 100 times he cheated to get away from the line. Anyway, all that to say, Canelo was still able to beat the shoulder roll defense. As you can see here, instead of shooting that right hand over the top and missing, he started making an adjustment and shooting it to the body. Now, this is going to be a very, very important idea, and we're going to talk how that affects the fight in a second. But the next thing I want you to see is how he makes an adjustment, okay? And now instead of shooting that shot to the head or to the body, he shoots that shot to the head now. And Mayweather thinks it's going to be to the body, and he looks to counter that body shot because he was starting to get wrecked by it. And it finds himself in a position to get hit on top of the head with an overhand right from Canelo. Now, if Jake Paul can take advantage of the fact that Mayweather ducks below the waist here, like that, by going to the body here, he can force Mayweather to make an adjustment and fight him on the line, and he'll have a better opportunity of using his size and using his weight to land a big punch that Mayweather doesn't see coming. Now, Mayweather is the master at making adjustments, but unfortunately, the fact that he looks to cheat on the line stops him from not only learning how to defend himself properly with slips, right? Because the way that you want to duck the right hand or get away from the right hand is slipping to the front foot. But it's going to cause him to be in line to be hit with bigger and more dangerous punches against a bigger and more dangerous opponent, okay? He's not going to be able to get away with these same kind of maneuvers because it's going to be harder for him if Logan Paul has been doing his diligence. And I've seen some of his training. He looks okay. But the idea that Mayweather is going to be leaps and bounds ahead of this guy is not going to necessarily be the case, okay? Now, Logan Paul's not going to be as good as Canelo was here, but if Mayweather's not allowed to cheat, Mayweather won't be allowed to be as good as he was here either. And in what span of time, if Mayweather has been cheating all this time, if he's all of a sudden supposed to be fighting and not ducking below the waist and not cheating and not doing these illegal defensive maneuvers in the span of 1 week, when is he supposed to learn them to beat him?